Is Ten Hag about to drop the flops? Is he about to do something completely different to shake Manchester United's season up? Tomorrow will tell us a lot. There's a lot of rumours going on about who might be starting, who might not be starting, and that's not because of injuries as well. This is the United Vibe. I'm Adam. Welcome to the show, everyone. We've got a debate show tonight. We've got a couple of guests coming on as well to discuss what is going down with United and what we've got coming up, what is in store for the Reds tomorrow. We've seen all the action now. Everyone has played this weekend so far. And so Saturday's games, well, didn't go too bad for us. Newcastle probably the worst result. Obviously, City, nails and all, and everything. Bit of salty pep. It's not what we, what's the names? We don't mind it, do we, actually? It's one of them nice things seeing Pep sweat a little bit. And of course, yes, there's only so much you can do to liven up an Etihad crowd. We all know that. Sorry, Pep, it's just not going to work, son. You're not big enough. Anyway, enough about them blue noses. Let's move on to United because we can't slag someone else off before we've played because you know what happens. It always comes back and backfires on us big time. Well, I'm trying to play a lot of reverse psychology with this game tomorrow. I really am. But yes, in terms of the title and everything, obviously, I've said that Ten Hag will die on that. Am I muted? I'm not muted, am I? Someone said I'm muted. I don't think so. I don't know. Can everyone hear me okay? I don't know if I've done a full intro there without any sound on, but yeah. No, I'm not muted by the looks of it. So yeah, we'll carry on. Oh, I love live TV. Am I muted? Let me just see. No, I'm all right. Yeah. Cheers. Everyone has said. I think Daz was just winding me up a little bit in the chat there. But yeah, let's get the guests on. Let's get right into this chat. Let's get into it. We've got our man, Mr. James Dixon. He's been on before. Jimbo, how are we doing, son? You okay?
I'm all good, man. You?
I'm not too bad, mate. I'm not too bad. Bit anxious about the game tomorrow, but yeah, it's what it is with United these days. It's the norm, isn't it?
It is, mate. Yeah. It always seems to happen with us, doesn't it? Like, is there a worse time to play Everton than right now? I don't really think there is. I'm sure we'll get into it. But whether it's a new manager bounce or whether it's being deducted 10 points, we always seem to get them at the wrong time, don't we?
Yes, we do. Also on the show tonight, next guest making his debut on the show from Red Devils TV. We've got Dan on as well. Dan, how are you? I'm just going to get that out of your face there.
He's covering me a little bit. I'm not 6 foot like you, Adam, so, you know, I'm going to have to just lean up a little bit.
Hey, 6'4", mate. That's what it is. 6'4". There you go, pal. Yeah, we're all clear now. That looks better. How are you doing? You okay, Dan, buddy?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Like you said, I'm nervous for the game, and like James said, we always seem to play them at a bad time, but it should be a good game.
Do we not play everyone at a bad time, guys? It's just like you said, James.
At the moment,
it seems to be that way, doesn't it? It does. It's just what it is. I mean, I was down there at Goodison yesterday. You all seen the preview video that I did. Don't forget to drop down and give that one a watch. Some interesting thoughts from a few Everton fans driving past the stadium as we were doing a bit of filming as well. So, yeah, it's not a happy place now. It's pretty poisonous and toxic now. God knows what it's going to be like when you throw a Man United into the mixer, which is pretty much the cauldron that we are stirring up tomorrow. I mean, James, first of all, 2 weeks off, international break, gives you plenty of time to sort of look through everything that's gone down. You're hoping you get through international break, no injuries, and well, you're sort of looking for a new lease of life. That reset button has been switched, and you're going into this busy period now with a new outlook. You're hoping talks have happened between the manager and the players. Everything's settled down, and for you, is this now the most important part of the season going into this group of games? And is it important to kickstart the busy festive period? Because we are on the cusp of it now. Is it important to start it in the right vein, the right sort of attitude?
Yeah, it is, mate. Sorry to go all cliche on you, but the most important game is the next game, right? That's what all football managers say. That's what all football pundits say. And it's never more true than at the moment. I think if you look at the Premier League table, a lot of United fans will probably tell you we're in almost a false position. What are we, 4 points off City, 5 off Liverpool, or roles reversed in that? If we win tomorrow, like it's crazy to think that we could have had our worst possible start to a Premier League season when we had 5 wins out of 10 games or something. Yet we're only 5 points or 6 points off the top of the league, which seems absolutely mad. But is what it is. It's Manchester United, but absolutely crucial to go there and get a result tomorrow. And recent history at Goodison, I hate going to that ground. I really do. I can't believe you drove there voluntarily yesterday. I think it takes a fair bit of money to get me to drive anywhere in near Merseyside, to be honest, mate. And whenever you go in that away ground, they put you behind that pole in the corner, don't they? It's horrible. But Man United have got a tough run of games. I think Ten Hag's going to come out of them smelling like roses, or he's going to come out of them with his job potentially on the line. And I think that's basically where we are at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. Hello to everyone who is just joining in with the chat. We are talking United tomorrow and Ten Hag, and there's some rumours going around about some change-ups in that starting lineup. We're going to get into that as well. But Dan, obviously, international break is painful for all of us. We're seeing everyone who plays in a red shirt week in, week out, going away to their countries and absolutely killing it, as they always do. What is that mix that we cannot get right with that red shirt? Why is it not working? And in your opinion, do you feel like Ten Hag can turn it around now? Has international break given that reset sort of recharge time? And going into this period now, how important is it for you?
I think it's massively important. It's a defining moment of the season, December, and obviously tomorrow's game as well, because I feel like that with all the media and backlash Eric Ten Hag's receiving in recent times, there's talks about Ten Hag to be sacked, but I feel like if December goes really badly for us, it won't be, is Ten Hag going to get sacked at the end of the season? I think will he make it past Christmas? And I think with international break, I can't stand it because injuries happen. When you look at Casemiro a few weeks ago, you now look at obviously who else has got injured now? Obviously Mason Mount throughout and Palestra. So it's never good with us at the moment. So with me, I believe that Ten Hag can turn it around, but it's just finding his main starting 11, because I don't think Ten Hag knows what his strongest 11 is at the moment, and that's the inconsistency. That's where I feel like we're failing and losing games all the time, because the amount of rotations, the partnerships we've seen throughout the season, I can't probably say that the same teams played with each other for 5 games in a row yet, because either been an injury or someone being dropped. It's all over the place at the moment, in my opinion. But hopefully Ten Hag can turn it around. I do back the manager, but we've all been there saying this. We've said it about Mourinho, we said it about Ole, and look how that turned out.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, in terms of not knowing his team, Dan, I'll come straight to you on this one. Luke Shaw is available straight back in the team, or is it a bit? Do you feel Ten Hag is going to sort of nurse him back in like he does with a few players, or is Luke Shaw that important that he's one of them players that you can see Ten Hag just putting straight back into the team at Goodison?
Oh, it's a must. Luke Shaw is probably one of our most missed players. You could say we've definitely missed his leadership. We've definitely missed his mentality. For me, Luke Shaw, I have questioned, because I believe that around the 70th minute, he tends to gas out and make stupid challenges. He always gets booked. And I feel like that playing is that left back, especially in this advanced system where he's constantly having to run up and down and be relentless in this Ten Hag system. He seems to tire out a little bit. So I hope he's really worked on himself and he doesn't push himself too hard, because we don't want him getting injured even more and being out for a longer period of time. But if it was me, I would play him at left centre back. I would definitely start him. But I feel like with Johnny Evans being out, I don't trust Lindelof, the Varane situation. I feel like starting Maguire at centre back and Luke Shaw as his left centre back partnership, and then playing someone like Reguilon and Dalot to do the more attacking roles, that would be a lot better in my opinion. But definitely having Luke Shaw in the team will be massive against Everton.
Yeah, that's it. Left centre back, James. Is that a shout for you? Are you trusting in Lindelof and Maguire? Because although Ten Hag has said in his press conference yesterday, there's no fallout with Raphael Varane. You don't leave Raphael Varane out if he's fit, and you definitely don't put him alongside a brilliant, quote, defender that Harry Maguire is in the same category, do you? I know you're an Harry Maguire fan. Oh, not so much a fan, James, but you like fair is fair. You give everyone the right credit and the right criticism. I know what you like. But to put Maguire and Varane in the same boat, especially when Maguire was on his way out in the summer, is a bit strange, isn't it? Are you trusting that Lindelof and Maguire can handle what is coming tomorrow at Everton? Or are you like Dan? Are you bringing Shaw in straight away at left or left centre back? Is Varane making his comeback? How are you lining the back line up?
What I would do and what Ten Hag would do are probably two different things, because I probably would bring Luke Shaw straight back in. But if you look at what Ten Hag has done historically, he very, very rarely rushes people back in. And if you remember, when Luke Shaw first got his starting berth at left centre back, was kind of in the derby last season after the World Cup when Martinez came back and he didn't want to rush Martinez back. And it took him a while to come back into the fray. And Luke Shaw played in that game. We won 2-1, and the rest is history. He's a very, very good and very accomplished left centre back. He's fantastic on the ball. He's very, very good under pressure. And I think we're going to come under a lot of pressure because that crowd is going to be massively, massively up for it. Tomorrow, they're a physical team. So I do believe in having Harry Maguire in there. If you look at like Onana's a big physical presence. I think I'm guessing that he's Calvert-Lewin fit. He's a big physical presence. They're quite a physical team, so I do think Maguire is going to be in there. And on the Maguire situation, since you brought it up, I'm not. It's not that I'm a Harry Maguire fan. I've been probably Harry Maguire's biggest defender recently because, many people say he can't defend himself, but I have tried because if you look at it, the statement that Ten Hag came out with, I think it came across wrong. Basically, he's putting them in the same category in terms of like players and what they've accomplished, and that's obviously completely wrong. You're looking at a 4-time Champions League winner, you're looking at a World Cup winner, you're looking at
Lost in
someone
translation
massively.
a bit in terms of the
Yeah,
language.
I think so, because if he'd have come out and said, listen, I've got centre backs that are in form, like he's competing against someone that's banging form, then no one would have an issue with that. Or you shouldn't have an issue with that, because Harry Maguire is arguably, you can like it or not, one of our most consistent performers this season. He's got he should have had 3 man of the matches in the last 5 or 6 games. And yes, he has conceded in other games, but so have other defenders and so have other players, and they've not torn it up as well. So if he'd have come out and said, listen, the other centre backs that he's competing against are in great form. Varane has something to prove from that, because when he's played, his form hasn't been great. Then that is fine. But when he's coming out and saying he's got to fight against other brilliant defenders, it kind of rubs people up the wrong way. I don't think it came across great, to be honest. So if it was me, I would play Reguilon, Luke Shaw, Maguire, and Dalot. I don't think Ten Hag is going to do that straight away. I think you may see Reguilon, Lindelof, Maguire, and Dalot, with Luke Shaw probably getting about 30 minutes at the end. That's what I think Ten Hag is going to do.
Yeah, honestly, my defense would be, I would have Maguire and Varane in at centre back. I would have Luke Shaw at left back, and I would have Wan-Bissaka at right back. That's why I would do it. That would be my defense. I feel like Maguire, this game is made for him. It is. We'll see how it goes. Like we said, we always have the last minute injury checks. Obviously, there's quite a few United players who have got last minute checks on them, which have been done today. We'll find out in the morning who is fit and who is available on that if but maybe list. But one player that isn't on it, James, again, I've done a video on him. I call it the most pointless signing in the summer for any club. Mason Mount, I honestly don't think I'm going to ever see him play a consistent games to prove what he can actually do, mate. I've no doubt in the player. I really haven't, but I just don't ever see him fitting in at Manchester United. And it's decisions like that that make me worry for Ten Hag going forward, especially with a so-called new sporting direction coming in under Sir Jim Ratcliffe. This isn't going to be a manager gets his way through the season sort of setup with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. It's going to be players being brought in for the manager, and that's how the blueprint works for the successful teams in this league. This is where I worry for Ten Hag, but Mason Mount, again, I keep saying it, James. I've got nothing against the quality of the player. I think he is a quality player. I just don't think United are ever going to see it.
Yeah, I think when they bought him in the summer, I was getting behind him like I do with all players, and I think a lot of the fan base were trying to get behind him and thought, maybe it wasn't the profile of signing that Man United need. They needed what they thought was like an Amrabat style more. They needed a striker more. But I saw last season, I saw 3 major problems in Manchester United's team. I saw a low in confidence David De Gea, and we tried to fix that with Andre Onana. I saw Eriksen's legs going, like after the second half of the season, after he got snapped by Andy Carroll, and we tried to replace him with Mason Mount. And obviously we had the whole Ronaldo Weghorst situation, and we tried to replace that with Rasmus Højlund. So on the face of it, it looked like we tried to plug the holes that were causing, the ship to sink a little bit last season, even though we had a relatively good season overall. I just don't think that if you look at Christian Eriksen, the composure and the calmness that he brings on the ball and the ability to find players in space and just technically how good he is, I think you're struggling to replace that with Mason Mount. Mason Mount's energy off the ball is very good. His runs are very good, and his pressing is superb. His one touch and move it stuff is very, very good. But technically, he's not as accomplished as Christian Eriksen on the ball. So we don't seem to retain the ball as well as we did last season when we were playing Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno. And especially at home, we went through stages last season. We lost one game all season. At home, we went on a massive winning run. And I don't think that Mason Mount's the type of player that if you're a possession-based team, he's just going to stroke the ball around nicely and you're going to have 60, 70% possession. I think he's great in theory on the counter-attack. And I just think he's been misprofiled. I think if he can get a run of games, I know people said this about Donny, but I treat those situations completely different. I think whenever Mason Mount has come on, he's showed little glimpses. Whenever I saw Donny come on, I didn't really see anything from him. I'm sorry if that's a little harsh to all the Donny fanboys, but I genuinely didn't see anything whenever he came onto the pitch. Whereas Mount, I can see it. I can see what he's trying to do. I just want him to have a run of 10 games in the team. And I don't think he's going to get that, whether it's due to injury or whether it's due to, Ten Hag not prefer him. And I mean, you've got to look at Scott is another player that I defended. And in fairness, he's one of the people that has contributed this season in terms of goals and assists and stuff. But if you're being signed by Erik Ten Hag as his player, the first player you go after in the transfer window, 55 million, you give him the number 7 shirt, and then you lose your place to Scott McTominay, whether he's on form or not. You've got to be asking questions and thinking, was the wisest move with that transfer budget to go for Mason Mount? And going forward, I know that people have issues with this whole 25% investment thing, and people are trying to rewrite history almost, because if you go back pre-Qatar bid and pre-like the whole Sheikh Jassim thing, if you'd have offered 99% of United fans 25% of the club, like going to someone else that's not the Glazers and taking full sporting control away from the Glazers, you'd snap the hands off of that. Because these kinds of decisions, these kind of Mason Mount decisions, these kind of like bringing Paul Pogba back decisions, well, it's happened since 2013, mate. Since Ed Woodward was in charge, like it's happened since David Gill went and Ed Woodward came in and he was running stuff with the Glazers. We've been making poor decision after poor decision. You're looking at 1.2, 1.3 billion pounds since 2013, so in 11 years. And realistically, how much of that's a success? Maybe 100 million, if you're lucky, has been a success. The rest of it has been a failure. So I'm actually quite excited at the prospect of someone else dealing with the transfers ins and outs going forward, and hopefully we avoid these Antonys, these Sanchos, these Mason Mount situations where they clearly are not going to work at the football club for one reason or another.
Yeah, that's it. And Dazzy's just celebrated your words of wisdom there, James, by offering 5 memberships out to the people watching right now. Snap them up. You will automatically, well, not automatically, but if you do become a member off the goodwill of Daz Salford 69, then if you drop down into the community section on the channel, guys, there is a post there that you just have to type the message within that post in a reply to it, and you'll be in the draw tomorrow. The draw tomorrow, obviously, is for this 1988 blue third kit shirts. That will be yours if you're drawn out of the hat. The live draw is tomorrow after the game in the reaction show, guys. So be involved. Snap up them memberships if you want to be involved. Drop to the community section. It's all there. If you are struggling, just drop me a DM on my Instagram. You all know what that is. AdamMatic31. I'll answer all questions there. But Daz, absolute legend as always. Brilliant stuff. I can see people snapping them up now. Mate, you had problems with your sound earlier on, but you've made up for it now. Brilliant stuff, mate. Love all the contributions. Don't forget, just a simple like will do, guys, on the video. Subscribe if you're watching for the first time. We've got loads coming up, including all the content tomorrow. I'll go through all at the end of this show anyway. But over to you, Dan, in terms of moving forward here. We're talking about the midfield. We're talking about a waste of money. I'm going to throw a possibility for you as a midfield 3 tomorrow of Bruno Fernandes, Scott McTominay, and Kobe Mainoo. What would your initial reaction to me be if that was United's midfield tomorrow, Dan?
I'd like it, but I feel like he's going to go with a different youth academy, and I think he's going to go with Hannibal instead of Mainu. And I just feel like that in a game like this, different keys for different locks. And I feel like in a game like this, you're going to need someone with a lot of energy and going up against a midfield like Everton's. But putting Kobe Mainu in, I would not be surprised. I would not like it. He's played really well for the under-21 since he's come back from his injury that he picked up in pre-season. During pre-season, he looked very sharp, and you could say whether he's being overhyped by the fan base or it was just a pair of fresh legs. But what Kobe stands out, in my opinion, and he's clear above. When it comes to levels, I think he's clear over any other youth academy player that we've currently got in the under-21s. He definitely stands out in that stand. But for me, McTominay and Bruno will definitely start. But a question for you, Adam, is that what's happened to Amrabat? Because,
that was my next one, mate.
That's what I mean. We brought in Amrabat to be this, number 6, and he's hardly played. And I feel like that's where we're losing majority of the midfield battle. And that's what I mean. And with a physical team like Everton, who will dominate us in the midfield when it comes to physicality, they've got Jimmy Garner, they've got Onana, and they've also got Decore. So I feel like that will be definitely get out-muscled in that midfield.
Yeah, I mean, Onana is out for Everton tomorrow. So that's one bonus for United, you could say, because he's probably one of their best midfielders. So there's a bit of, let's just say, that power in Everton's midfield missing. Obviously, Decore is still there, but Onana, Dice just said he's definitely not available for tomorrow. So Amrabat, I mean, James, I'll come to you. Flop or not, really, is the question for him, because this is the man you'd expect to be playing week in, week out right now with the amount of injuries we've got in midfield.
Well, flop or not depends on expectations that you put on him. And I didn't put massive expectations on him, whereas a lot of the fan base did. And
by only taking him on loan, James, pretty much lower the expectations.
Potentially. I mean, I think they've lowered the expectations because as soon as we heard Romano come out and say it was like, 25, 30 million, I think if he was this massive world beater and the club believed he was this massive world beater, then they would throw that money at him and sign him permanently. But I think they had some kind of reservations about him, whether that was Ten Hag that had reservations or whether that was, the Glazers and the board and Arnold and Murta that had reservations. We don't really know. But what I would say, and I had this argument with a lot of people in the fan base at the time, and everyone is very, very quick to judge in football and very, very reactionary. And they have a massive recency bias. And they saw him play very well in the World Cup. They did. They saw him play very well. But I would challenge anyone to say that they've watched Amrabat play more than 8 games of football for 90 minutes. Because you're not watching Fiorentina week in, week out. I'm sorry, you're just not. Like, unless you live over in Italy, you're not watching Fiorentina week in, week out. No one has enough time in the world to watch Fiorentina week in, week out. You probably watched them in the Conference League final against West Ham, and you probably watched the World Cup, like the games he played in the World Cup. But outside of that, how much of Amrabat have you actually seen, bar a few YouTube compilations and clips? Because I can show you YouTube compilations and clips that make Maguire and McTominay look like world beaters. So I just don't believe that people had seen enough of him. I really don't. They were like, when people were saying, he may go to Liverpool, I was like, I'm not massively worried about him going to Liverpool. If him going to Liverpool would have stopped them getting Caicedo and Lavia at the time, then I was perfectly happy to see him go to Liverpool because I didn't think he was that proven 6 that was going to make them win the league. And I don't think he was the complete answer to Manchester United's problems. And when he came in, we played him at left back, right? Because we had problems. Reguilon was out, Shaw was out, Malacia was out. It was basically him or Lindelof, and then Lindelof was even out. So we had to play Amrabat at left back. And everyone gave him a bit of slack, of course, because he's playing completely out of position. But when he was playing in those games, I kind of saw stuff that I didn't like. I saw him handle the ball on the ground about 3-4 times. I saw him make really rash tackles. I saw him make poor decisions, loose with the ball. And I just thought, okay, he's settling. It'll take time. And whether it's through, again, lack of game time or whether it's just the Premier League is different gravy to international football and it's very, very different paced to both Serie A and international football. And you can say, look what he did against Mbappe, look what he did against this. It's not the Premier League week in, week out. It's not the same intensity. It never translates from a good World Cup to a good Premier League player. It just never, ever does because it's completely different. And Ten Hag is obviously not seeing enough in training because, let's face it, McTominay's starting over him, Casemiro's starting over him, and on the midfield 3 that you or Dan mentioned, Kobe Mainu, I'm all for it. Like, if you want to give him a go, then give him a go. But Ten Hag doesn't really put people straight back in. But by all accounts, he was excellent recently in a closed door friendly. He ran the show apparently, and we do need someone that can cover a bit more ground, because let's face it, Casemiro is getting kind of run ragged in the midfield as a single pivot at the moment. It just doesn't work. And if you're not going to play him with Amrabat and you're only going to play one there with Bruno and McTominay, then it probably is better being Kobe than Casemiro at the moment.
Yeah, Honest Tiger, he's in with another membership offer for everyone. Get in on that, guys. Brilliant stuff tonight. Everyone's feeling generous before the game. We'll see we're feeling this way after the game tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow's schedule, guys, is going to be me, 11 o'clock on the paper round on Top of the League. Do tune in for that. There's loads to get into, and that is going to turn into your cult favorite. I'm telling you, it's a great show, and everyone loves to get involved in it. So join me at 11 o'clock tomorrow for our paper round. That's all the Sunday headlines and everything. Then we're into the game itself. We're going to do a live watch along alongside Craig. So you've got a Liverpool fan and a United fan watching United against Everton. Go figure. It's entertaining, to say the least, isn't it? And then straight after that, that's on Top of the League. Straight after that, we fly across back to the United Vibe, where it is your chance. Your draw is up for the shirt, if you're a member. And we're breaking down the full game. It is the reaction show. I've got Jay on with me for that as well. So if it goes wrong, you know what's going to happen. It's going to be absolute carnage. So, yeah, entertainment packed day. I just pray that United take advantage of the results that we've had this weekend, because it could turn into a really good weekend for United. I can see Ed the Blue there. He's an Everton fan who's in the chat as well. I don't know how Everton fans are feeling at the moment. It's going to be an interesting one tomorrow. But are you happy with that midfield then, James? Which one would you go with, actually? I just want to get your opinion on that quick before I move on.
I would probably, if everyone's fit, I would go with Kobe, McTominay and Bruno.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing you should not be amiss or lacking in that midfield is energy, like you said. I mean, Dan, is there a problem here that we could drop down to Everton's standard in the lineup that we select today? Is there a worry for you that Ten Hag could look at Everton's team more than what he's got in his own changing room right now, and we end up playing that scrappy game that Everton want it to be?
I mean, I personally believe that without the midfield battle and the selection of options that Ten Hag's got, I think tactics are going to go out the window in this type of game anyway, because of how emotional Everton will be, how emotional the fans will be. I do feel like it's going to be a very scrappy game. I'm going to think it's going to be based on the game of who wants it more. And as we've seen throughout the season and last season and previous seasons, United's heads do drop when we tend to go down. And with a hostile crowd at Goodison Park like Everton, will our edge drop is the massive question. I don't think it's down to quality in a game like this. I feel like I said, it's who wants it more. So, will Everton's eruption start? Why will they explode all over Manchester United and show everyone that they don't need a points deduction to stay up and compete in the Premier League? Or will United take advantage of it, like you said, and with the results how they've gone this weekend, then United could capitalise it and keep that top four hope alive?
That's it. Alien says Manu will get flattened tomorrow. Wait and see. Alien is just full of confident boosting comments at the moment. Alien, are you drinking? Are you on the Stella, mate? Just tell me now, because you're starting to worry me, pal.
He's a ray of sunshine, is RP, isn't he? Proper ray of sunshine.
Captain Hindsight with a super sticker. Thank you very much, my man. Loving the contribution. And talking of contributions, he's up to 10 gifts now, Mr. Daz Salford. He's on fire. More memberships up for grabs and more chances for you guys to get your hands on that prize tomorrow in the live draw. Thank you very much, Daz. You're an absolute legend of this channel. I feel like I should just get you your own one, mate, for all the donations that you've done at the moment. Brilliant stuff. And look at that there. Little kind comments like that. Best channel on YouTube. Daniel, thank you, my friend. Good stuff. Loving this. There you go, Alien. That's more like it. That's nice, Alien. Good boy.
He's in there. He's in there somewhere, isn't he? He's in there somewhere.
Oh, I love you, Pete. I love you. Oh, I couldn't go live stream without you, my friend. I really couldn't. But no, the rumors are, guys, that Ten Hag is seriously giving consideration to Manu coming in to the team tomorrow, which would be interesting. So we got Eriksen's definitely out, Mount's definitely out, Casemiro's definitely out. So our midfielders, as I see it, is like, excuse me, is like Dan said, we've got Hannibal thrown in the mix alongside McTominay, alongside Bruno Fernandes, and alongside Kobe Mainu. We are short on numbers, really, even considering we've got players coming back. But I would play Mainu. I would put him in. I know Ten Hag isn't afraid to play young players in big games. I mean, if you're going to play Palestri at the Allianz Arena, then there's no reason why he won't play Kobe Mainu at Goodison Park, is there? It's going to be physical. I mean, Kobe Mainu is used to this type of football. Obviously, he's fully fit now, and he does bring something different. And you know what? I'd love to see a bit of fearlessness in a young player playing for Manchester United for a change. I really would. Quick one. Again, everyone's in donation mode tonight. Everyone's feeling generous before the game. They're trying to send the positive vibes over to the United team, I think. But RRS, cheers for that gifted membership, pal. Brilliant stuff. And if you guys have got anything about you, jump on to these memberships because you will be involved tomorrow. Make sure you hit that community post, though, please. So that's what's going to determine if you're in the draw or not. If you're not sure what the community section is on the channel, just go down onto the main page and you'll scroll across. You'll see videos, you'll see playlists, and you'll see another section which says community. It is in there. That's how you enter. Follow the instructions on that there. Moving into the front line. Dan, I'll come to you. So Rasmus late fitness test has gone in today. We still don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I know he's been fit. I've been told he's fit, but obviously Ten Hag has briefed the media on him and probably just doesn't want to let anything out of the bag yet. Is it crucial that we keep Rasmus in this team for you, Dan? Or would you risk him? We have done this with players this season. I mean, you only have to look at Martinez. Desperately need him in the team. And we played him through injury. Do we have to nurse these players a little bit better? Or if he's 70%, is he better than a fully fit Martial, Dan?
That's the thing, because with Martial, it's like what I said before, like different keys for different locks. And I think Martial in a game like this would actually be quite crucial because, you know, I believe that Everton's wider areas, especially their fullbacks, are their weak spots because I just that's just the way I see it. But when it comes to the front line, I'd say Rasmus would definitely get out muscled because the way he likes to shield off against the defenders for any team that he goes up against. And with players like Tarkowski and Braithwaite, I feel like they're very physical and dominant in the air centre-backs. So with Martial, he tends to kind of keep his distance from defenders and kind of draws them out like a pawn on a chessboard. So I feel like that with Martial, he's very good with a link-up play as well. I would start Martial over Højlund. Hopefully he's on the bench and maybe could do an impact substitution with 30 minutes to go just to try and get him back if he does pass the fitness test. But I think that if we're leaving a fitness test until the day of the game, I don't think it's worth risking it because, like I said before as well, we've got a massive month of December with massive crucial games to define our season. So with a player like Martial, I wouldn't be surprised if I'd like him to start, give Højlund a bit of a rest as well and throw him straight back in against Galatasaray on Wednesday. He's joint top scorer in the Champions League. So just throw him back in there in another crucial game. But I'd let Højlund sit one this out.
James, where are you at with Rasmus? Rest him if he's not fully wet. And Alien, cheers for the super chat, mate. Out to Hag, there's mince pies and wine after the game. Yeah, he's back to rubbing it in again. He's back on form. But Rasmus, for you, in this type of game, is there a spot? Martial's record against Everton is pretty decent, James. It's pretty decent. So if there's an omen sort of there for Martial, if he does come in, hopefully it's a good one for us.
Yeah, I guess you're referring to the semi-final at Wembley with the last-minute touch.
Last season at Old Trafford. I remember that top bins he scored at Goodison Park a few seasons back when Allardyce was in charge of Everton. The semi-final, which the goal line was behind. So, yeah, I am thinking a lot of that one, James. That was an epic day, mate. It really
was carnage, yeah. Yeah, it was. It was absolute carnage. Listen, Martial does have a good record against Everton, but I also have bad memories of Martial against Everton because last time we played him and he came off after 45 minutes because he was injured, basically, and then we didn't see him again for about 2 months. And that's my worry with players. So I would be questioning. I don't know what the injury or what the potential fitness test of Højlund is. It very much depends on what the injury is as to whether I would risk it or not. If it's any kind of muscular injury, I would not risk him in the slightest. If it's a kind of feeling under the weather thing and, he's just not done a lot of fitness work this week and cardio stuff, I'd risk him all day. So it depends what the injury is. Bear in mind that when he first came in, there was a lot of noise around club doctors saying, he obviously, around his medical, they were saying, he can't really play 2 games a week and all this kind of stuff. And we've not really seen him injured that much too far, unless I'm mistaken. So at the moment, it seems to be going well. He seems to be able to manage his game time pretty well and manage his injuries pretty well. But that's down to the club to decide. I think if he's fit enough, you play him. If it's a muscular problem or he's not fit, you don't play him and you rely on other players. It's a squad game, and that's what people are there for. And if we have to rely on the likes of Martial and Rashford, and I generally don't know who's fit. It's been a while. I guess Garnacho's fit. Is Palestri? No, Palestri's out. I don't know. I don't know who else is fit really, but I would risk Rasmus Højlund as long as it's not a muscular injury. Yeah, because he wants his first goal in the Premier League, doesn't he? Like Dan said, he's got 5 or 6 in the Champions League. He's flying there, but he just kind of needs to get that off his back, doesn't he? In the Premier League, so I would give him a run out for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Honest Tiger competing with Daz tonight and RRS with the donations. Cheers, guys. Keep it coming. Brilliant stuff. Big contributors for the channel. Absolutely loving it, guys. Superb. Rashford on the right, Garnacho on the left, Dan? Or have you got other ideas? How are you setting this front line up? Is Rashford in the team for you? I should maybe ask that first, because I've questioned his work rate. I thought he was pathetic in the last game that he played for United. That was after he got sent off. And obviously, I think he's going to play simply because he's not going to be available in the week against Galatasaray because of his suspension. But are you playing him on the right? Is Garnacho staying on the left? Let's not forget, Garnacho has had 2 weeks off and he's fully rested, raring to go because he didn't get picked for Argentina. So is that a big plus for us?
I'd say yes and no, really, with the Garnacho situation, because the Argentina coach said it was due to performance issues why he's not been picked. So clearly the Argentina coach is seeing Garnacho play poorly at the moment, and that's why he hasn't chosen him for international break. But I'd say for us, it's shit.
What's up, mate?
Oh shit! Have I gone off? No.
No.
I thought I went off.
Right, mate. No, right, mate. Don't worry.
Notification. Right. Anyway, where was that? But no, with Garnacho, I think that with fresh legs, it will be really important for us to have fresh legs in Garnacho. He's very relentless. I still see him as that impact player. I don't think he is ready to start for United yet, but I just feel like with Garnacho, he is very direct, and we do need that directness, especially from the left-hand side, because Rashford's not offering it us at the moment. I did say start Martial, but I also won't be surprised if he does play Rashford through the middle and maybe plays Anthony and Garnacho on the wings. And Martial is built like a poppadom, so he might break after 45 minutes. But there are multiple options that Ten Hag can go with, but I do feel like Rashford will start in one way or another. So, because like you said, he's not playing against Galatasaray midweek due to the suspension he picked up against Copenhagen. So, yeah, I do think that Rashford will definitely be involved, whether it's on the right wing, left wing, or through the middle.
Yeah, no, I can see either. I can see it happening. Super chat, his mum's caught him drinking. Alien, you're losing me tonight now. I don't know if that's part of the chat with someone else or is it aimed at Garnacho or whatever it is, mate. I don't know. Man, Graham is in the chat with us. Given that Rashford is suspended on Wednesday, I would play Tony Martial. Graham, the voice of reason, the wisdom talker, as we say outside Old Trafford. Martial at number 9? If Rasmus isn't playing, you're playing Martial on the left. I don't know why we can't play Garnacho on the right. I don't know. I think sometimes Ten Hag baffles me, wanting the inverted wingers and then only playing wingers on certain sides. It's difficult to read how he's going to go over it. It is basically, like I said at the top of this video, no one really knows how Ten Hag is going to approach this, but I do feel like it is the perfect opportunity for him to actually change things up if he wants. I do think that midfield needs to shake up. I think the back line is where his biggest problem is, because we can have as good a performance as we've had all season, and then someone will make a mistake at the back. We've been doing it constantly all season. There's no cohesion there at all for me. But guys, I wanted to look ahead. Obviously, we have got Everton tomorrow. It's the start of what I call a death away week, because welcome to hell. That's back, obviously, against Galatasaray midweek. And then we've got Newcastle on Saturday night at 8 o'clock, which we know is a horrible record. James, it is a big week, as we know. We talked about it at the top of the show, but how is it going for you? What are we getting out of this week? How do you see all three of them games going? Be honest with how you feel right now with this team and what you've watched all season so far, James. We've seen what they can do. We've also seen how much it takes for them to lose it completely. Is there enough in this team to get through a week like this?
With 3 wins, probably not. Probably not. You are looking for different reasons. They are 3 of the toughest away games you're going to come up against in Europe at the moment, because Everton, in the situation they are in, you saw them fly a plane over the Etihad today, even though Sky refused to show it because they're in bed with City, aren't they? So they refuse to show it. So it'll be interesting to see if they cover any protest or any corruption or anything like that tomorrow. But they're going to be backs up against the wall, fighting for it. They've got a point to prove. They're going to be absolutely well up for it. So it's going to be a great atmosphere tomorrow at Goodison Park. And then you go to Galatasaray. Galatasaray is infamously one of the best atmospheres in the world, one of the toughest stadiums to go to in the world. Very few English clubs have ever won there. I remember Prime United going there in 1995, maybe 96, and getting a draw and being ecstatic with it and celebrating it like it was a win. And that was Schmeichel, Pallister, Bruce, Irwin, Prime United team. And we were ecstatic with a draw. But under these circumstances, we kind of need to go there to win, don't we? And then we all know what St James's Park is like away. We know that it's a fortress for Newcastle, and we know that apparently we're Newcastle's rivals now. They've tended to create that since the cup final. So they're going to be bang up for that as well. The dressing room selfies and all. So in terms of the week and the 3 games, it's very, very tough. 3 wins is a massive ask. I'm going to be as optimistic as I can and say we're gonna draw at Goodison. We're going to somehow, and I don't know how, but we're going to somehow win in Galatasaray to at least take it to the Bayern game. And we're going to draw at Newcastle away. So I think we'll get 2 draws in the league and we'll keep our hopes alive in the Champions League.
Is that good enough, Dan? Or do we need more?
I feel like we'll beat Everton tomorrow. I don't know why. I've just got a feeling, whether it's optimism, whether it's faith, or whether it's just because I support United and I'm biased.
Do you reckon it could be? Sorry to interrupt you. Do you reckon it could be because you've not watched United for 2 weeks and you've forgotten about what we're like?
Yeah, my mental health's been absolutely brilliant, mate. I've felt great in myself over the last 2 weeks, but. No, it might even be the Copperberg. It might have gone straight to my head. But
yeah, you look a bit red in the face there. I think the cider's working its way through.
Exactly, mate. But no, I feel like we'll beat Everton. I agree with James. I think we'll somehow beat Galatasaray. But Newcastle, for me, I feel like that's where we'll get beat. So that's what Johnny's just said there. That's what I feel like with the next few fixtures. But I feel like that with Everton as well. If we do get this win tomorrow, obviously the way the league's gone this weekend as well, I think it'll be a massive boost for the Wednesday game. And then, Newcastle will go and ruin it on the Saturday. But no, I feel like that we'll be able to beat Everton tomorrow. I think that Galatasaray will be a very tough game, but I think we'll somehow scrape that game. And then Newcastle, it will be a very tough game. And based on their form at St James's Park, I mean, look at the way they tore apart Chelsea today. Chelsea went toe-to-toe with Man City and drew 4-4 the other night, and they got absolutely tore apart by an injury-prone Newcastle side who've got multiple injuries and an injury crisis like we have. But Newcastle, they're one of them teams where they just don't show it affect them at the moment, where we do, and that's the difference.
Yeah, that's it. In terms of Ten Hag and this week, James, now, if he comes out of it with a bad week, where are we at? Are we still holding on to him in your eyes? Do you feel like, and honestly, well, give me your opinion on it, and then obviously what you think might happen within United, within the fan base, with what's happening with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Is being out of the Champions League at the first hurdle good enough for Manchester United? Should we be setting standards now and saying this isn't good enough, or do we need to sort of at least see this process through with Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming through possibly?
I think you can go out of the Champions League at the first hurdle, like if you're Manchester United. Like, it's not a standard thing. I think it's very much the way you go out there. And if you look at the loss to Galatasaray and you look at the Copenhagen games, and you're just like, really, I just don't. Going out in that way would really hurt me, and I don't think that's good enough for Manchester United. I don't think we've given a good enough account of ourselves at all in the Champions League so far. So I am banking on us doing something against Galatasaray midweek. I think with Ten Hag, I think you'll never catch me on a stream or online or on anywhere calling for a manager to lose his job, like a Man United manager to lose his job. It's just not me. It's not who I am. I'll never do that. So I'm always going to back them, even when it seems physically impossible, not like to back them. The problem that you've got with Ten Hag is you will see a lot of the fan base now are picking up on a lot of things. And remember when he first took a stand against Cristiano Ronaldo, about 90% of the fan base were Team Ten Hag and about 10% were Team Cristiano Ronaldo. If you now see it with Varane, you're seeing about 90% are Team Varane and about 10% are backing the manager. And it's switched with every decision and every player he takes on. People are going more and more towards the side of the player. With Ronaldo, it was barely any support. Then with Sancho, it was a little bit more. And now with Varane, it's a lot more. And you're seeing him take on people in the club, and you're just seeing him get less and less support from the fan base. And we're only really a couple or a few results away from the fan base getting pretty toxic on Ten Hag. And then we've seen historically that from that moment, it's almost a matter of time until the board eventually pull the plug, because they seem to think that sacking a manager and replacing them is the best way to go. With Sir Jim and how that affects it, we don't know, do we? We've heard that he's apparently a Ten Hag fan. We've heard that apparently he's going to come in and certain people are going to lose their jobs. I know Arnold has already announced he's stepping down. I think Mert's going as well. And then there'll be there'll be a big shake-up in the footballing side of stuff. But in terms of Ten Hag, I think he's safe for now. From a ownership point of view, I think if Sir Jim comes in, I don't think he's got intentions to get rid of Ten Hag, especially this season. But it could get to a place in these next 3 games where some of the fan base will have some pretty nasty things to say about Erik Ten Hag, and that's my worry, I think.
Yeah, where are you at with it, Dan, in terms of Ten Hag? If it goes wrong, can you see them pulling the plug? Do you want to keep Ten Hag? Do you feel like he is out of his depth with everything? If we cannot get rid of players in January, is there much hope going forward into the second stage of the season if he's got these issues that is clearly there, but he keeps deflecting away in press conferences, saying that there's no problem with Varane? There clearly is a problem with Varane because they would be playing him otherwise.
Yeah, I do feel like that Ten Hag's not out his depth when it comes to the quality of the Premier League, but maybe when it comes to handling these big ego players. I mean, you look at the way that Frankie de Jong, De Ligt left Ajax all them years ago when he was at manager of Ajax. You know, these big players, I know they were academy graduates of Ajax, and Ajax is notorious for being one of them clubs to sell on their big talents to bigger clubs in Europe. But the rumours were that De Jong didn't left on good terms, De Ligt didn't end on good terms, so were the fallouts over them situations. So can Ten Hag handle these big ego players, you know? Ronaldo, one of the greatest players who's ever lived. Sancho's probably a massive ego type player, you know, and as well, obviously with Varane as well. Varane's a well-respected player in all of Europe. I mean, he's won 4 Champions Leagues, won a World Cup. So I mean, Varane's argument probably is that I'm fit, I'm ready to play. Why are you playing me over Maguire? Because last season I played it when I was fit, and even though it was an injury crisis, and even though it was based on form, I still played. So why aren't I being played this season? It is a massive confusion. There was a report that I saw was because that Ten Hag wants to keep Maguire at right centre back, and Varane's not going with his left foot, and Ten Hag doesn't want to risk him at left centre back. And I think that's just crazy, in my opinion, because Varane's brings that much quality to the team. You know, he's the Rolls Royce. I think he's absolutely brilliant, and the injury problems are there. And Ten Hag might be wanting to reserve that and maybe wants to get a more consistent team going. But with the injuries at the moment, he can't get that consistency with the team. It's all up in the air with the Varane and Ten Hag situation. But like I said before, I back Ten Hag, and like James said before as well, I won't be sat here calling him to get sacked unless it went horribly wrong.
Yeah, in terms of centre backs, I do believe it is a no-brainer. I mean, Harry Maguire, for instance, I did this one the other day, 66 win percent with Harry Maguire in the team when he starts a game. Obviously, we like stats with Harry Maguire. It's what it's all about with him. But I look at Varane, so like 9 starts for Maguire. Look at Varane, 71%. I think it's a no-brainer where he needs to go with what he actually starts with tomorrow for me. He's got 2 quality centre-backs there in his eyes. Oh, brilliant, he says in his eyes. I, for one, need that experience and calmness of Varane. I think he's got that.
Sorry to interrupt, but Maguire and Varane also played during the League Cup against Crystal Palace when we won 3-0, and we completely dominated the game. We played the high line. We dominated Crystal Palace. Yes, it was their B team, but, that partnership works really well. So, I don't know why he's also not played Maguire and Varane together there.
I also think, by the way, I think you've got to look at the flip side of it, because everyone's saying, like Dan said, Varane must be knocking on the door saying, I'm fit, why can't I play? Let's rewind about 2 months and let's remind ourselves of Raphael Varane releasing a statement that's saying that we're playing far too many games in the Premier League. It's a joke and we can't handle all this fixture scheduling and all this kind of stuff. And let's rewind ourselves about 4 months in the summer to when Harry Maguire was going to be sold, but we found himself doing 2 sessions a day, double sessions, cardio sessions, sometimes training 3 times a day. And the fan base got on his back for that. And now we've got a position where we've got a situation where the person that was training 2-3 times a day, or 2-3 times a day and doing double sessions and stuff, is now fit enough and wanting to play. And we have a situation where the other person was saying, actually, I don't want to be playing all these games. Well, let's face it, you're not playing all these games and now you're unhappy about it. So you've got to be careful what you wish for sometimes. I think there's loads of news coming out at the moment around, like, when we signed Raphael Varane, about his injury record and about his medical and about his knee and stuff like that. I think, like, you can read into stats however you want. I think at the moment, with what's available, Harry Maguire and Raphael Varane are our 2 best form centre-backs. And do you have to have a right footer and a left footer playing together? I mean, I don't necessarily know. I don't think that it has been that way in great United teams of the past. I don't remember Jaap Stam or Rio Ferdinand being left-footed. I don't remember Puyol or Piqué being left-footed. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think there's numerous centre-back partnerships over time that have been tested that don't necessarily have a right-footed person on the right centre-back and the left-footed person on left centre-back. So if they are your 2 best centre-backs, I would play them together.
Yeah, let's get them likes up, guys, before we finish up. We're not done quite yet, but if you just give the video a like, let's get over 100. We're nearly there, only 6 away. So everyone in the chat right now, give it a like and let's get there, people. I honestly think tomorrow is I wouldn't call it D-Day. I think this week is more. I know we say that. It's kind of cliche. It's like it's a massive week for Manchester United and Ten Hag's job is on the line. But being out of the Champions League, losing 2 games in the Premier League, he's got a chance here to actually address that away record as well. And I think this is why I think this is such a crucial week. And I think, do you know what? I wouldn't go amiss of putting players in the team for these next few games that are just going to run and run and run for him. I really do. If he needs to pick certain players to get him through this week that he knows are going to give him everything, I'm all for that. And I can see that. And I will see that when he makes the starting lineup. I'm not going to complain about the lineup tomorrow. I've given my opinion on what I think United should do. If everyone was fit, and obviously that comes off with them late fitness tests tomorrow. So yeah, I know who I'm playing, but honestly, I probably know he's going to play McTominay in there. I think Kobe will come in. I think Bruno will be there next to them two. I think he'll play Rashford, Garnacho, and Rasmus. If Rasmus is fit, Luke Shaw will come in at left back. He's already talked about the stability of having him there. Does that then mean that he can play Maguire or on the left side, Varane on the right, switch him around maybe, whichever way now that the stability's back? I think Wan-Bissaka is a big player if he gets the go-ahead as well tomorrow. So, yeah, I think it's all coming down to who can he trust right now. But my biggest concern is, and like you were talking about there, James, with Varane and everything like that, I've seen Varane come on the pitch against Copenhagen, and it clearly showed me that there was an issue behind the scenes because Varane didn't look like he wanted to be there. I know Varane is the best player. I'm willing to give him time because he seems like that sort of guy you want in the changing room, that quality, that calmness, that experienced head. He'd have played all over the place for Real Madrid in the biggest games in world football. So I'm not having that he can't play on a certain side or pass a certain way. This is Ten Hag's downfall on this. I feel if he plays Varane tomorrow and he gets the same sort of reaction, then Varane gets dropped out of the team completely. And that'll be him done and gone in January for me. But I feel like the only way to rectify issues with players is by playing them in moments like this, in weeks like this, and saying, okay, I now know, to quote Roy Keane, I'm in the trenches. Are you going to be a man I want fighting by my side? Because this is that moment. This week is that moment. I'd be playing them and I'd say, okay, let's see what you got. Have you got what it takes to handle what's coming your way this week? The hostile atmospheres and away from home, 3 cup finals in a week, in 6 days. Can you handle that? That's how I would look at this. It's a perfect week for him to test out what he's got in his team and test out the character. And I think we'll find some people coming out of this week actually in a positive light, actually standing up and being counted. It's that type of week, I think, guys. I mean, Dan, for you, have you ever seen or ever going into a week, have you ever seen anything as high pressured as this? Are you hopeful that these players have got it in them to actually get through the emotional and the mental side of this week?
Well, I look back to last season when we could have stopped City's treble. You know, it was in our hands and the players didn't turn up in that game. But I know it's a bit different in this week's situation. But I just feel like that, you know, if we go down early, then I know the heads will drop straight away. I mean, I don't want anyone telling me about the Nottingham Forest game at Old Trafford where we came back 3-2 after going down 2 goals in the first 5 minutes. I don't want to hear about that because it was a complete fluke game. That surprised me as much as anyone else, that game. Like, I thought after 2-0 down, you know, we would have left the game, but Nottingham Forest didn't attack us in that game. But I think in a game like this, with the crowd like Everton's at Goodison Park, it will be a massive test for the players and Ten Hag. You know, I don't want to see Ten Hag making, you know, his stupid 60th, 70th minute substitutions regardless. If a player's not playing well after 30, 40 minutes, take him off and make a change straight away. I'm sick of Eric Ten Hag delaying the change during games, and that's where I feel like he gets a lot of doubt from rival fans and fans saying that does he know what he's actually doing, because Ten Hag intends to leave players on for too long, in my opinion. We see it with Eriksen, we see it with other players as well. You know, Eriksen gasses out after 45 minutes, like James said before. So with the players, I back him as a United fan, and like every United fan should. But will the players show that to the fans is the massive question.
That is it. Well said, Dan. Right, come on, guys. It's time to put your money where your mouth is. Score predictions. James, tomorrow. And guys in the chat, get your predictions in. Let me know what you think the score is going to be against Everton tomorrow.
I never do this on a show. Never, ever, ever. I always predict a win, but I'm not. I'm going to go 2-2.
He's going to Desmond 2-2. He's on the fence. He's got splinters. Dan?
I'm saying 2-1 United.
2-1 United. Ooh, I went with 0-0, me, you know.
You cannot call me about splinters in my arse when you're sitting on that fence. Mate, you own that fence. You've been on it for so long.
Oh, mate, I never pick a draw. You know why I picked a draw? Because United don't do draws. We still not had a draw all season. And 80 games under Ten Hag, we've had 8 draws. Can you believe that?
Mental.
It's mental. Absolutely
It's
crazy. But no, I will be. But guys, just wish me luck. Obviously, I need this team to come forward for me because I'm sat with a Liverpool fan watching my team against Everton. I'm totally being Merseysided tomorrow. So you just have to wish me luck and try and send me them positive vibes. I want to be proved so wrong by this team right now. I know what I've watched. I know what this team has performed like when the atmosphere has been bad at Goodison Park as well. I'll never forget it. I need these players to actually stand up and make me want to support them, not just supporting them because they're our team. I want to see something that makes me go, I'm right behind you. I can see what you're doing. I can see the effort you're putting in. That's what I want to see tomorrow. And hopefully we'll get that result that we are all looking for. Guys, if you are just tuning in now, sorry, we are just about to finish up, but we'll be back tomorrow, obviously, on top of the league in the morning at 11 o'clock for the paper round. Then at 4 o'clock, we'll be live on top of the league again for the game, the full watch along against Everton. And then straight after that, back here on United Vibe, it is the match reaction with Jay and the giveaway for the members as well. That's all set up and ready to go, guys. So do tune in tomorrow. It is going to be a dramatic one. But for now, that is it. Sleep well, United fans. Tomorrow is going to be a big one. Tomorrow, we hopefully get the reaction that we all want. Big thank you to James again for coming on. Where can the people catch you on socials, mate?
Yeah, cheers, Ads. Just on the if there's anything a week like this, mate, just cast your mind back to last season when we had Barcelona at home and Newcastle in the final in that week. And it was very much a momentum thing. If we won then, and we happened to win both. So positive vibes, win this, win Galatasaray, win Newcastle, win the lot, stop City getting 4 in a row. Easy done. If you want more deluded optimism like that, then James Dixon PT on Instagram, James Dixon _PT on Twitter. Smash a like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Follow Ads on top of the league. Big up, Dan. Need to join the Beard crew. And yeah, good luck to United for tomorrow.
It's so much shit at the moment, James.
He'll get there, lad. He'll get there.
Dan, you give the people a shout out to your work and what you're up to on socials, please, mate.
Thank you. Yeah, you can find me on Red Devils TV. I have my own channel on YouTube. I aspire to be as big as Adam one day. But yeah, thank you for having me on, as always. As always, my debut. But I'm getting mad of myself. But no, I appreciate it. And like James said, on my channel, I just talk absolute nonsense. So if you could subscribe to me, I'd really appreciate it. Red Devils TV.
Yeah, if nonsense is positivity, then we're all for it. We do need it going into this weekend. It may completely change now, maybe just going nuts again tomorrow. You know what I'm like, but always thinking that we can get that win. That's what we got to do. Sleep tight, everyone. Have a good one, and I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Super chats, members section, absolutely brilliant. Big shout outs to Daz Salford and to Crouching Tiger and RS6. RRS, sorry, I always get them mixed up with my R's for your contributions tonight. Never forget that. Brilliant stuff, guys.